as far as Soul Assassins, when it comes down to it, with Cypress Hill Tribe, which was the essence of Soul Assassins in the beginning, you know, for me, they were about many things. And so I think that when they decided to just go with, let's go with the green leaf, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go with that. Because they were about peace, they were about the warrior, they were about money, there was a Cypress Hill Tribe. That's why when you hear that record, a hole in the head, they talk in the beginning, Gangster Red, rest in peace to Gangster Red. He was the one that said, yo, Red, Gangster Red, what's up? It's a tribe thing. And then because they were kind of like letting people know, like, yo, we were the first tribe, but you know, Tribe Called Quest came in, which was no big deal because Tribe really brung it, but they were Cypress Hill Tribe, and then they decided to let the tribe thing go, and then they went with one thing, and that was, you know, those are decisive, those are decisions that you have to make when you're creating a product because you can't be so convoluted with so many things, even though they were a very universal group. And I think that's what opened the door for that universality, you know what I'm saying, for us to be universal, all of us all together. Because we had, you know, of course, you know, we got DJ Lethal, you know, Russian. We got Danny Boy O'Connor, Danny Boy, original Irish guy. We got Everlast, Italian, Irish guy. We got Sendog, Cuban, Be Real, Cuban Mexican, you know, DJ Muggs, Italiano, you know, Ralph M the Mexican, you know, Sun Doobie, Puerto Rican, Tomahawk Funk, of course, Native American, Black, Sioux Indian / Mexican. So you know what I'm saying? Like, and we covered all bases, and we, you know, we had respect for one another, and we were just about hip hop, you know, and that's why I think that, you know, hip hop, you know, there's no boundaries. You know, it really is the universal language when it comes down to, you know, expression.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So now I want
Mm.
to take it back to as you're developing, how
Mhm.
did you get the opportunity to get on K Day?
Okay, so I went to 135th and Central. Okay, I'll give it to you right as when I became a mix master. I tried out before when I was 13 years old, and then I failed. Although I never lost the faith, if you will. So I always believed that I could do it because I wanted to be with the best, and they were the best at that time, along with Uncle Jam's Army and with so many others. You know, of course. But they were, they were on the radio. So for me, I knew that I had to push my name further. So I went down to Skateland, USA. Of course, that's where N.W.A did their first performance. I grew up in near World on Wheels. That's where I first went to try out. I snuck out the house. I sucked, got sent back home, and got in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Greg Mack, he was cool. They put me on the radio because they used to do the live auditions on the radio. So as a 13-year-old child, I went down there, tried out. I didn't make it, but I saw a lot of great DJs that night. And I learned what I needed to do to get myself positioned to go back and really do it. So when I go to 135th and Central Avenue, which is Skateland, USA, I tried out for the Mix Masters. I had a strategy. I waited till I was at the end of I was the last DJ to go on while they were still on the radio. So they would go on from like, I would say 10 p.m. to about 1 a.m. After about 1 a.m., they would sign off. So I got on like at like 12:55. You know what I mean? And then I'll never forget when I went there, I got on and I proved myself. And that was important for me on the radio. It was live and direct. And you know, to this day, I'm really impressed with that audition. You know, very thankful that they accepted me because I didn't know them. I didn't know N.W.A. I didn't know Tony G, Julio G, Greg Mack, Joe Cooley. I didn't know a lot of these great DJs that came before me. I didn't know them. And so to be able to share the spotlight with them and to tell this story now is really an honor and a privilege.
Yeah, it's amazing because just the people you named are all phenomenal in their own right. And then to be able to, from afar, admire them and then be embraced by them is gotta have been an amazing feeling. Oh,
It was truly a teenager's dream come true, man. And I'll tell you one thing about each and every one of the mix masters, because if I may, um, we all did something in the world. We all put something out there. You had Jammin' James, Calvin Carter, who went on to record with Lighter Shade of Brown, all those hit records like Sitting in the Park and Radio Latin Activity, Jammin' James, DJ Romeo, who was another guy, who was the guy who dissed N.W.A, Romeo and Rhyme. I was hanging out with them at that time. So for me to sit there in the back of the Volkswagen and listen to them, they were listening to all the new records that were coming out. That helped me develop as a producer too, because I would hear them judge the music and I would hear what they thought about certain, and I would just listen. Chill Rob G. We would listen to all types of new music that was coming out in 88, 89. And so we were the new mix masters that came into play. Rest in peace to DJ Tracy, who also worked with Body and Soul, with Def Jeff. He worked on In Living Color. He was one of the DJs that provided the music for the background music for the dancers. When you would hear the In Living Color skits, when you would see the dancers and they would take a break, that was DJ Tracy. Rest in peace to him. DJ Aladdin. Come on, how could I forget DJ Aladdin? One of the greatest DJs to bless the turntables. New Music Seminar in 1989. For me, he was 89 a world champion. You know what I mean? Well, 88. He won in 88, 89. We'll go into that. Yeah.
well, I've only unfortunately seen Aladdin once,
Uh-huh.
but he did something I've never seen before and I've never seen since, where he was scratching and he
Yeah.
jumped over the turntables.
Oh,
And
yes.
when he did it, he turned what he was doing and kept it going. He never missed anything, and he was still
Yes.
scratching in the air as
Oh
he was
shit.
turning.
Oh man.
I wish
Let me
I
tell
had
you,
it.
man.
I
I
wish
met Aladdin. Yes, sir. Yes. No,
I,
tell me. Yeah.
I just wish I even had a picture of that, let alone a video. But it was the most DJing wise. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It was incredible. And I was out in LA. I was fortunate to be able to see it, man.
I'm telling you, dude. That dude right there, man. He would do things on the fly that nobody's ever seen before. And like you said, you saw something at that moment that he just did for you because of his showmanship. And that's what I'm talking about. See, we would do stuff that was just incredible, impeccable. That guy right there, I met him at 13 years old. I met him when he was at World on Wheels, and I never forgot him. And then I saw him later when we actually became mix masters. And then I was still tripping because I was like, yo, that's that dude right there. You know what I'm saying? And then to see him, be able to go and develop D.O.C and the whole low profile, of course, with Ice-T, Rhyme Syndicate, D.O.C, rest in peace to Crazy Tunes, another, special person in my life because that's the guy that taught me how to work the 4-track. So that helped me develop my skills as a 4-track guy with DJ Muggs. He literally, while I was hanging out with him at that apartment on Kingsley with Aladdin and Muggs, being roommates, Crazy Tunes was his best friend. And of course, he's D.O.C's little brother. He taught me, he said, yo, and I met him because of K-Day, through others speaking of me and then people telling me about Crazy Tunes. And he was hanging out with Quincy D and shit like that. Quincy QD3 back then, you know what I mean? And so for me to hang out and for him to extend himself to me and say, hey, yo, I'm gonna show you how to do this. And then so I will always honor him. I salute him, love him forever.
Yeah. So as you're getting on K
Mhm.
Day, how did you keep pushing your talent and your skill as a DJ forward? What were you doing? What were you studying? How did that work?
But the new music was coming in 87, 88. It was South Bronx. It was the new rap's new generation. Of course, Public Enemy was coming strong. We had Cool G Rap. A lot of those records, De La Soul, Plug Tuning. A lot of people don't know this, but I helped break those records on the Mix Master show and on the traffic jams because we would do the 5 o'clock mix. And so those records were brand new. Chill Rob G, Stu Fine from Wild Pitch Records. He used to send me the records directly and send me a little note like, hey, Ralph, yo, this is something new. And so for me, that was exciting because I used to buy all those records. EPMD, you're a customer. We broke those records in Los Angeles. A lot of people take credit for those records being so great in Los Angeles, but the K-Day Mix Masters were the guys that helped get those records on the mix show and on the airwaves on the Saturday nights. So that's what Saturday night mix shows were about. The mix show is about breaking new music, not playing the same shit that you hear every day on from 9 to 5. It's about playing new music. That's what mix shows were about. And so, with that being said, EPMD, of course, MC Light, Positive, just all the greats, like all that golden era. People talk about golden era. K-Day was the golden era rap radio station, and so that helped.
And what at this time too? What was your relationship and interaction with Greg Mack?
Well, when I met Greg Mack, he was of course top notch on the radio. He had the voice. It was an exciting time for me because for some reason, while I was going to the radio station, I mean, I would literally catch the bus at times. You would catch me on a Saturday night on the Sunset Boulevard bus going towards Echo Park with a 2-inch, with like a half-inch reel in my hand because I had the mix that I wanted to play that night, and that was my Saturday night. So I would catch the bus to K-Day just to go to the meetings on Tuesdays. We would do the meetings on Tuesday nights. And with Greg, it took me a while to develop a friendship with him because he was older. I was 16 years old, and he was like 24. Greg was like, he was older. He was like a big brother to me. He looked out for me. He helped me to get better as a DJ. He would always criticize me constructively. He would tell me what I needed to do to be a better DJ to fit the format because things were changing. And we were scratch DJs, we were battle DJs, K-Day Mixmasters. That's what the essence of K-Day Mixmasters is. We're battle DJs, we're scratch DJs. And we play records and we blend and we cover all aspects of DJing, but we always want to get the thrill, we want to get it in. And so with Greg Mack, he helped me develop as far as like, okay, look, this is what I want from you. And then so I was able to adapt and overcome into those situations. So, with Greg Mack, he was doing big things too. He had late record deals on Motown, and he had every rap. He had every rapper in Los Angeles trying to meet him and wanting to go through that K-Day door.
Well, that's interesting too because we'll get focused on this a little bit later. But that was one of the things about Which Doobie You Be in particular, the songs that you produced or you're credited as a writer, all those different things. They had like lots of scratching on it, and that was 93, which was toward the end of, I'd say, scratching on major labels. It was basically almost done. And you guys helped or were some of the last people doing it. And since I love DJing and I love scratching, I think that's with Which Doobie You Be, one of the reasons I love it so much is because it reminded me of why I fell in love with rap. When I was a little kid getting into it was all the scratching and all the different sounds and the effects that you guys did so well, in my opinion, on Which Doobie You Be.
Be sure to check out the history of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on your TV back with N.W.A.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The history of gangster rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the street. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The history of gangster rap in stores now.